Imagine you have a tough problem, like needing a better way to get clean drinking water to a remote village. You've brainstormed a few different ideas, maybe a new type of filter, or a rainwater collection system, or a well. But how do you know which idea is truly the best? This is where design evaluation comes in. It's the critical step where engineers don their detective hats and systematically compare potential solutions to figure out which one will actually work, solve the problem effectively, and avoid creating new issues. At its heart, this standard is about making smart, informed decisions when faced with multiple design options. It's not enough to just have an idea. You have to prove it's the right idea. This means using a structured approach. We'll look at how to weigh different solutions based on what's most important, your prioritized criteria, and understanding that you can't have everything perfect. Those are your trade-offs. We'll also dive deep into all the different real-world limitations, like money, safety, and even how it looks or affects the planet, that shape these decisions. So what does it mean to evaluate a design? It's like being a judge at a science fair, but instead of just one project, you have several possible solutions to the same problem. You're not just saying, "I like this one." You're systematically assessing each solution against a specific set of rules and measures. You need to be objective, using data and facts, not just gut feelings. This process helps us pick the solution that not only tackles the main problem, but also works well within the bigger picture of the real world. Why bother with evaluation? Well, picking the wrong solution can be incredibly expensive, dangerous, or even cause more harm than good. Think about a new bridge that collapses because corners were cut, or a new factory that pollutes the local river. Evaluation is our way of preventing those kinds of mistakes. It ensures that the time, money, and effort put into solving a problem lead to a safe, effective, and responsible outcome that truly aligns with the original goals. Remember our scorecard from before? Those are your criteria. They are the specific goals your solution must achieve to be considered successful. If you're designing a new app, a criterion might be must load in under 2 seconds or must be usable by someone with no prior experience. When you're evaluating different solutions, you're essentially checking how well each one ticks off the boxes on this very important list. The more quantifiable your criteria, the easier it is to objectively measure and compare. The tricky part is that sometimes solutions don't meet all criteria perfectly. That's why prioritizing criteria is so vital. You have to decide what matters most. Is it more important for your new device to be incredibly fast or incredibly cheap? For a medical device, safety and reliability would be top priorities, even if it means it's more expensive or takes longer to develop. This prioritization gives you a clear hierarchy, helping you make tough calls when you have to choose between competing qualities. Trade-offs are an unavoidable reality in engineering. It's a bit like choosing a new phone. You might want a super long-lasting battery, a fantastic camera, and a very low price. But usually, a phone with an amazing camera and long battery life costs more. You might have to make a trade-off. Either pay more for the features you want, or accept a slightly less powerful camera to save money. When evaluating, you're constantly looking at these trade-offs and deciding if the compromises made in one solution are acceptable, given its other strengths. Beyond criteria, every design exists within a set of constraints. These are the hard limits that restrict what you can do. Imagine trying to build a new building, but you only have a certain plot of land, a specific budget, and strict building codes. Those are all constraints. Your evaluation must consider not just if a solution works, but if it can work within these real-world boundaries. A brilliant design that costs too much or takes too long isn't a viable solution. One of the most common and powerful constraints is cost. Almost every project operates on a budget. This isn't just about the price of materials. It includes the cost of manufacturing, the labor to build it, the energy it consumes, and even the maintenance over its lifespan. An elegant solution might be technically perfect, but if it costs 10 times more than the client can afford, it's simply not a viable option. Evaluation ensures the chosen solution is economically sustainable. Next up are safety and reliability. These are often non-negotiable. A bridge must be safe for cars. A medical device must be reliable and not fail during surgery. If a solution poses a significant risk to people or the environment, or if it's prone to breaking down, it doesn't matter how clever or cheap it is, it's likely a bad design. Many safety regulations exist precisely to ensure that engineers prioritize these factors above all else. While often considered secondary, aesthetics can be a very real constraint, especially for products that interact directly with people. Think about a new car or a piece of furniture. If it's ugly or uncomfortable, people won't buy it, no matter how functional it is. Even for purely utilitarian designs, a clean, intuitive layout can improve usability. So when evaluating, consider if the solution is not just effective, but also appealing and user-friendly. A crucial and increasingly important constraint is environmental impact. How does your solution affect the planet? Does it consume too much energy, produce too much waste, or use non-renewable resources? A good evaluation considers the full life cycle of a product, from where its materials come from to how it's manufactured, used, and eventually disposed of or recycled. The goal is to design solutions that are sustainable and minimize harm to our ecosystems. Finally, we have social and cultural impacts. This is about how your solution affects people and communities. Does it create more equality or inequality? Is it accessible to everyone, including those with disabilities? Does it respect local customs or traditions? For example, building a new dam might provide power, but displace indigenous communities. A responsible evaluation must weigh these complex human factors, ensuring the solution benefits society broadly and fairly. To keep all these factors straight, engineers often use a decision matrix. Imagine a simple table. Across the top, you list your different proposed solutions. Down the side, you list all your prioritized criteria and constraints. Then, you score each solution against each criterion, e.g. on a scale of 1 to 5. This structured approach helps you compare options objectively, seeing which solution scores highest overall, rather than relying on a vague feeling. When evaluating, you'll use both quantitative and qualitative measures. Quantitative data are numbers. This solution costs $500, or it reduces energy consumption by 30%. These are facts you can measure. Qualitative data are descriptive. This design is user-friendly, or it has an attractive finish. While qualitative measures can be subjective, they are still important and can be gathered through surveys or expert opinions. A comprehensive evaluation uses both types of evidence. Evaluation isn't just about how a solution performs right now. It's also about predicting its future performance. Will that new material degrade quickly in harsh weather? Will this software be compatible with future updates? Engineers use scientific models and principles to anticipate how a solution will hold up over time. This helps ensure that the design isn't just a short-term fix, but a durable, long-lasting answer to the problem. At every stage of evaluation, ethical considerations are paramount. Just because you can build something doesn't mean you should. Does your solution unintentionally create a new problem for a vulnerable group? Does it benefit a few at the expense of many? These questions guide engineers to ensure their designs are not only effective, but also fair, just, and responsible, reflecting a commitment to the greater good. Remember, evaluation isn't the final step. It's a crucial part of the iterative design cycle. You evaluate a prototype, identify its weaknesses and strengths, and then you use that information to redesign and improve it. It's a continuous loop. Design, build, test, evaluate, and then redesign. This cycle of refinement helps you optimize your solution, making it better and better with each iteration, until you have the strongest possible design. After all your hard work evaluating, you need to be able to communicate your findings clearly. Whether it's to a client, a team, or an investor, you must present your chosen solution and clearly explain why it's the best option. This means backing up your claims with evidence, showing how you addressed criteria and constraints, and transparently discussing any trade-offs you made. Clear communication is just as vital as the design itself. Mastering design evaluation is what truly separates a good idea from a great, impactful solution. It allows you to move beyond simple invention and into responsible innovation. By critically assessing options, balancing complex factors, and considering every angle, from cost and safety to social and environmental impacts, you are learning to create solutions that don't just solve problems, but do so in a way that truly contributes to a better world. Your ability to think critically in this way is an incredible power